I'll go ahead and call the Budget Committee to order. Is there anyone in the, out there that would like to say something about what's on the agenda for this evening? If not, we'll move on to,
Yeah, we've got something over here. We just want to mention that we have a celebrity in our midst this evening. That evidently our esteemed Wilson County Mayor is one of Wilson County's most eligible
No, she did not know
for
that.
for the Wilson County, or is it Mount Juliet Chronicle magazine? So I just wanted to say congratulations for being one of most eligible for the county.
And he lives in
You're
Tuckahoe.
welcome.
It's on
Make a
TV
motion.
now.
Yeah.
No, he appoints committees.
Can we do a point of order and get?
Mr.
okay,
Chair,
all
We ain't
right,
got Corey's not here to take her out.
Mr. Chair,
we're,
I'd like to make a motion for the article to be read.
there was no second on that,
Good job.
so we have, minutes for January the 11th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Financial report.
Financial report is in your packet. We have received through the end of January, $28,035,000 in property tax, 62% of the budgeted number. Last year, we had received, this is just in the general fund, by the way, we had received $27,846,000, so we're up a little bit, but that was 65.5% of the budget, so we had covered a little bit more of budget year to date. Nothing to be concerned about. We'll see what happens in February. We don't get concerned until February. But everything else, you know, property tax included, looks good, about where we would expect to be given the actions that were taken last year.
Motion to accept the report.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Uh,
And JECDB, come forward.
He left.
It's okay, Corey.
Is it that bad?
And I presume that was eligible for the draft, so I'll look forward to watching your trials at your time trials at the NFL Combine. So, congratulations on that. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time. I know you got a packed agenda. I'd like to bring before you tonight consideration for a pilot proposal for Project Jolt, which we've been working for some time. Before I move on, I want to recognize Miss Ann Ripka in the back. She's with Atlas Insight. Joining us tonight, the consultant has been working with the company and helping them understand the benefits of locating and doing business here in Wilson County. So excited about this project. This is a manufacturer of electrical components and systems. A lot of what, this is a leading company that has a presence here in Middle Tennessee. Currently, this will be actually their first presence in Wilson County, and is the bulk of what's an area-wide expansion. A lot of what's driving this expansion is they manufacture components, that they will at this facility, that go into systems that support cloud computing. So as our world's becoming more interconnected and there's increasing demand, and also semiconductor and chip manufacturing. So those of you who follow global affairs understand sort of where we are in terms of a lot of our chip manufacturing being in Taiwan and the geopolitics involved with that. So it's of strategic importance to get as much of that back domestically as fast as we can. So really excellent company. Another excellent brand that it would be great to add to the many excellent brands that already call our community home. So a little bit about the dynamics. They are planning to go into an existing building, Rockdale Ford building, which is on Maddox Road, just on the very south end of the county. Literally the backyard of this property is Rutherford County. So that's an existing property. It's currently on the tax rolls at an assessment of about $18 million, currently paying about $140,000 a year in property tax on that building. We're not going to touch that. We're going to hold that constant. what we're looking at is this will incentivize an additional approximately $80 million of investment in that building, so we'll almost quadruple the amount of value on the tax rolls. About half of that's customizations to the building for real property, about half of that is personal property improvements. And what that will do is it'll create about initially 355 jobs as part of this phase that will pay average salaries of $54,000 a year, plus benefits and retirement. We are currently, of course, we're in an age of inflation, right? So data lag but the best sources right now suggest that our median income in Wilson County is about $43,000 a year. So we're looking at wages that are 125%, right? So 25% more than what the average Wilson County is earning today. Skin that a little differently, our average household income is just a smidge under 90,000, right? So two individuals working at this facility would bring in, if they're in an average position, would be bringing in about 108,000, so $20,000 a year more than our average household income today. So excited about this. Also, it's a manufacturing project. I know there's been interest in diversifying our economic base a little bit more. And the last point I'd like to make here is we're really fortunate to even be in this position because the developers built this building. It's a speculative building. There was a 3PL, third-party logistics company, that they had actually floated a contract, pretty aggressive lease contract out to late last year. That's, my understanding is that's still active. It has not come back in yet. And to kind of give some context around that, you may have seen some of the news around the APL closure that was announced by Warren Notice this week. That's a 3PL, right? So those firms are probably gonna try to hire people at $17, $19 an hour, right? And we're looking at much higher wages with this position. Based on the utilities that are available at this site, I honestly believe that this is right at, if not the best and highest use as a community we're gonna get out of this building in terms of the jobs that it will help us create. So if this should not happen, I think probably what would come, they're eventually gonna lease this facility to a tenant, and probably what comes along, behind this would be much lower wages and not as high of a purpose, and likely not manufacturing, because this, with what they're doing here, this is a bit of a unique situation, and they can manufacture their components inside this facility without heavy water and wastewater usage, and you all understand kind of how that taxes the system. So in all, we're asking for a 5-year abatement. Candidly, from the matrix, this one could maybe probably qualify for a 7, but this is where we're at on this one. It was a competitive project. North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, and at least 2 other communities here in Middle Tennessee. So excited to be selected for this, and look forward to your support to help get it across the finish line. In all, we're asking for a total abatement over that 5-year period of just a little less than $2 million. That'll help us add an $80 million worth of value to the tax rolls moving forward after that. So happy to entertain any questions and appreciate your consideration. Yes, ma'am.
I just have one question for you. So it's a 5-year abatement, and it says it's an extended lease agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
What does the extended lease agreement mean?
So the
Like
leases, so
10 or
th-
12,
this
or
is,
if we're doing
this is
five-year
our incentives are an inducement, right?
Right.
My understanding is that the discussions around the lease term are in the 10-year timeframe. I know it will exceed 5 years, right? So I think there's some of that between the company and the landlord that are still being massaged out. So, but my understanding is that's where they're at in the negotiations.
Okay,
Dale.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Other questions?
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
For a second? A motion and a second. Any questions? From anybody? Anybody have anything they want to say or ask?
Does that annual average wage include executive pay?
It does, it does. I have a breakdown here. So across the 355, we're looking at about 25 management positions that are, let me get this right, averaging $95,000 a year. The remainder, and remember what I said about current county median wage being right at about 43. The remainder of the 330 jobs will have average pay of 51,000. So between the 51 and the 54, even lopping the management positions out doesn't skew it that much. Again, you know, full benefits, retirement, all of that. And to give you some context around that, what we're looking at, and this is some recent information courtesy of Ms. Rocket. So we're looking at under advanced manufacturing and assembly, we're looking at jobs in automation, engineering, technicians, training supervisors. Under materials handling, we're looking at technicians, paint and fabrication technicians, manufacturing customer service, quality technicians, and then the rest kind of general administration, sales, and whatnot that any operation's gonna need to have. So, also do have from the initial RFI, the SOC codes, those are the occupational codes in alignment with the Department of Labor. So we're looking at electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical and electronic engineering technologists and technicians, electrical and electronic and electromagnetic assemblers. And that last one, the point I'll note is that we were fortunate enough to receive a workforce development grant from TBA's economic development team to help us create an apprenticeship program through the TCAT for exactly those occupations. So the alignment here is nice, and I think that might be part of what helped us win the project.
Okay, anything else? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Ayes have it.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, budget amendments.
First budget amendments for animal control. They're moving money from utilities to uniforms as they need to, we have a new director who needs some uniforms and there's some other uniforms that need to be replaced. And he also needs, from his reserve account, money to replace 5 computers as his IT infrastructure is beyond salvation at this point.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
We got with Tom after planning and zoning was split last time, and we found some other lines that needed to be split. This is a continuation of that. No new money, just money moving between the planning and now zoning departments.
From that big lick last time.
Yes. This is the finished cleanup.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
For a few years, we've had some money set aside for the planning for the drainage project over here at the old Fred's building, the Election Commission building. And we actually forgot to put that back in the budget, so this is putting that in the budget. Hopefully that will go ahead and be done this year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
County attorney's requesting $3,000. There's documents attached for computers, but the need is for a computer and a conference cam and printer is the need.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second.
That hurt you, didn't it?
Yes, it killed me.
Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Next
Any
one,
opposed?
I'm sorry,
No, you got it.
jumped the gun. Next one is for county buildings. Most of you were here for the Public Works meeting, but basically there are 6 HVAC units that had to be replaced that were at the jail and the sheriff's department and the CJC. We had to pay some money for snow removal for January and also asbestos abatement related to the HVAC installation in this building. It's $180,000 that Robert spent out of his budget already that he's asking to be put back.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
Question. Aaron, with, when he brings his status quo, will this be added to it, or is this one-time expense?
I will bring that back to you guys next month. Robert and I didn't discuss it beforehand. It would seem to me that this would not necessarily need to be status quo, but I would like to verify that and then have you guys weigh in as to how you would want it to be.
Okay.
Since it's unlikely that he's gonna have to replace 6 units simultaneously again.
Right.
That being said, we do need to work on having, and this is really a public works issue, we do need to work on our public
Buildings.
public buildings issue, excuse me.
There yet.
Because we're letting our units get old to the point that they're collapsing before we replace them. And I understand we want to run and get every ounce of life out of those things that we can. But it's hard to claim it's an emergency when you have a 20-year-old unit fail.
Yeah.
It's hard to all of a sudden go, we have an emergency because our you can kind of foresee a 20-year-old unit fail.
Right.
So I don't know that he has enough money in his budget to necessarily deal with replacing these things as they come up. So that may be something that we do want to look at.
Would be something to entertain, just like making, just a second, like a line, like how, we do like a fire truck line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Next budget amendment, did we vote on that one?
No,
Sorry.
we've not voted.
Sorry.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Next budget amendment is the opioid funds, which we've talked a lot about. We received $681,677.30 last year from the opioid abatement funds. These are the funds that are restricted and are not able to be used for general purposes. We did not put those in a reserve account. So really, the second part of this budget amendment, I will have to give you a correction for because she's put it to a revenue line. It does not go to a revenue line. It needs to go to another equity line. So it will come out of unassigned fund balance and go into a reserve account, will be the purpose. Because we cannot spend that money for anything other than those approved categories of the opioid funds.
Motion.
Second.
I will.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
HR is requesting $1,100 be moved in their lines to attend a training.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And attached to this next one is for the judges. If you look at the 2023 COLA, which is, they had previously reported it was gonna be a 4% raise. This is effective there July 1, 2023. They have now gone back and decided it's a 5.
Oh.
So we have to back pay them and pay them for the year, the judges, a 5% increase instead of a 4.
So move.
Second.
What about the second part of it? where it
That's
says-
for the upcoming year, so if you pull the salary schedule for the upcoming year, it's gonna say 4.1%, or it's gonna say 2%. But we know based on this letter, it's 4.1, so when we do the budget, we'll do it off this letter.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Any questions? Comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
The next one in tourism, we did in one motion, we may have to do it in 2 here, I'll let Mike judge. So to explain the first part, the first 2 pages behind the budget amendment, the second page, no, the first page says Amendment 1. So we're gonna look at the second page first. They had originally in fiscal year 23 allocated $127,623.08 to be spent by the tourism department in fiscal year 23. If we go back to the page before that, what was actually spent on this grant was only $18,164.91. So they've moved from fiscal year 23 to 24. They've increased the funding from $80,000 up to $190,062.20, which is the first part of the budget amendment. There is the increase in revenue and the increase in advertising for the grant, moving the funding from 23 to 24. The second part is a grant that you haven't seen before. It's $30,000. We're asking you guys to approve that grant coming into tourism. And that was why I said it might take a separate motion for this grant.
I think you can do it all in one if you attach all this Documentation. to
Perfect.
it, And I will.
Perfect. All right, and then the last piece is just moving the money out of his reserve account, into his advertising line.
So moved.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Any comments or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Two motions might be more confusing.
If we can do it in one, I'm all for
Yeah,
it.
I gotta figure out how to word it.
Yeah.
To make something.
Joey's here. Joey, do you want to explain these? Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
All right, this first one, it's a line transfer, amount remaining after consulting services for the ambulance service data collection. We're just having it transferred from line, 118,308 to 118,790, which is both ambulance fund lines. We're just-
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Second is, private EMS fees of $1,000. We're asking that, to be moved from the ambulance fund 118 to 118,416, which is equipment parts heavy.
It's actually recognizing the money that we've received from the private EMS permits this year, and then putting it into a spendable line so they can spend it.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay.
All right, and then we're down to a new copier lease for the General Sessions Court Clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
And then finally, a resolution for the 2024 home grant.
What?
So moved.
Let me read it first. Second.
Okay. Any questions about the home grant?
Yeah.
I can explain it if I need to. It's where they, Jim Kittle used to do it, Chrissy's doing it now. They apply for $500,000, and we get that grant, and then people apply that are in a certain age bracket, and have needs to stay in their home. There's a third party that actually goes through all of those applications. We don't do that. And they get granted that, and then the money's run through our office here to make additions to those people so they can stay in their homes. So it's a good thing. It's no money out of our pocket, and, if they get the grant, it says in here they have to put up $500 of their own money. If they were to leave, in a particular so many years, they have to give the money back, to the, or whoever supplies this grant. So it's passed through really, if we get the grant.
Pass through.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, education?
Yeah.
2024-06. Moving a balance of a maintenance position that we have not used, haven't been able to hire, to a mechanic position that we're needing right now. That's the remaining salary for the rest of the year for that person. We received donations for our Family Resource Center, so we're reporting the revenues and the related expenditures. Also received Math Night donations, reporting those. Then we received growth funds, TISA growth funds. So we're moving, recording that revenue, and it will go to contracts with private agencies for our special ed. Because we haven't been able to hire a lot of those positions, so we're going to contract it out. And then transfer to our insurance fund. And then we are doing renovations for our TLC, Learning Center, at Mount Juliet and Southside. So those are moving money from their fund balance for those renovations.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? second.
Okay. 2024-07, we received outcome money from Artissa. So with that money, we gave a 2% raise to all of our employees. So this is the, all the line items that fits, and it's retroactive back to January.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, is there any new business?
Yes, new business. I'd like to make a motion, we go ahead and approve up to $30,000 for a birthday celebration for the county.
Think it's gonna be enough? Think that'll be
If
enough?
not, we can come back and ask for more, but I'm taking the Colonel's word, got a lot of faith in him.
Just,
And then just get the ball rolling.
Well, thank you. Second.
just take that out of fund balance?
We'll have to come out of general fund, I said,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
yes, sir. I'm
Thank
just,
you,
just
Tom.
double checking what your intent is, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll watch him. I'll watch him.
Yeah, let's spend it all.
Okay, we have a motion
Doodads.
and a second to utilize up to $30,000 for a birthday party.
Celebration. A historic celebration.
Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, one other thing. I asked this in education, but he didn't know, so I'm gonna ask the mayor.
Really?
Couple of phone calls that I got, or some phone calls that I received this month related to the Freedom Scholarship Act, which we did address that one in education. But the other phone calls related to Lebanon Road project in front of West Elementary School. I know we met in a meeting almost a year ago about that. Do you know where they are with that?
The safety project that's approved in front of West Elementary is on schedule for the spring of 2025. It was on schedule for the spring of 2024, but the Middle Tennessee electric poles are on back order. There's poles on both sides of that road, and that is what is stalling that project. It is a safety project. If you go back, that's from Terrence Glenn to Karen Drive, I think is the difference of the area right there.
Terrace.
If you go back coming out of Mount Juliet from Tri-Green out to Bender's Ferry, you know, Mount Juliet put in that turning lane, but that one is in the process of design right now, and the funding for that. They had asked, could they do both, could they cut that gap out that's in the middle from Terrence Hollies or whatever that's called, whatever lane that is, not Karen Drive's on the other end.
It's Terrace.
Terrace Hill.
Terrace Hills, okay.
Mhm.
And bringing it back to meet Bender's Ferry, could they do that at the same time and just include all of that? But that's still up for conversation.
So the lack of telephone poles is gonna put it back a year?
The back order of telephone poles, yes, sir, moving to the utilities. But the money for the project was approved through the safety money, so you won't find it on the TDOT website. It's not, you know, the pots of money that are there now, people talk about the 10-year plan. That's the money they've got set aside to spend the $3 billion that the governor set aside last year to do certain roads. So they've got their regular budget, which has money in it, and they've got the other projects that were funded through the Improved Act that they knock out about $2 billion a year off of it, but it was a $50 billion assessment on those 936 projects. So there's 3 different things that are out there that are going. So there's not, when you hear people say we ain't in a 10-year plan, so nothing's gonna be done, that's wrong. That's just what's gonna be done for 10 years for that $3 billion that he set aside. There's still other things being done, and the safety project would be one of those.
Question, any talk, I know that it's been a pretty hot topic, that area. And I know that myself and Commissioner Bernard gets a lot of phone calls about the traffic that backs up during school time. It's now almost to 109. Is there any talk with the state of them actually widening all the way down to connect Lebanon Road with the 109?
So we submitted and asked them to put in the 3-year TIP plan, the Transportation Improvement Plan, to the NPO from Karen Drive all the way out to 109. So that's been there.